What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Suave Sessions. I'm your guy, Rashad. Today, we're going to talk with the cast of Love and Marriage Detroit. It's the OWN Network's new show produced by the Carlos King, the man who's running the series of Love and Marriages between Huntsville, D.C., and now Detroit. But the Love and Marriage franchise is something I can actually digest. I'm not a huge fan of reality TV, which I've told you all before in different interviews. But Carlos has a product and a process that makes it easy for me. There's an authenticity that comes with his castmates and his cast members that I can actually enjoy and get behind. Great people, great energy. I loved it. So, all that said, sit back, relax. Welcome to Suave Sessions, the Love and Marriage Detroit edition. Let's go. Love and Marriage Detroit. After Huntsville and D.C., what made Detroit be your next move?
Because Detroit's my hometown, I wanted to make sure we represented a city that I felt was a missing element in the zeitgeist of reality television. You know, you got Atlanta that's always shown, Miami, LA, New York. And I felt like Detroit was the missing element in reality television. And these three couples represented the city, but also represented the brand of Love and Marriage in terms of giving their authentic selves to this brand of what's going on in their marriages, their friendships, and their businesses. So they definitely met the effort with that.
Yeah. How do you find your cast members when you go into specific cities? How do you find those three couples? How does that happen?
We do an open casting call, so we see hundreds of applications
Okay.
of people on tape, and then you sort of narrow them down to the best. And through a course of like conversations with the network, with myself and my team, we then decide on the finalists.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to these three couples in Detroit, they were a part of that finalist list, and they definitely rose to the occasion, and they're really great and fascinating to watch.
Okay, so next we meet the Smiths. That's kind of funny. Meet the Smiths. So the Smiths are next. That is Brandon and Christina Bowman Smith. Brandon is the owner of the Star Factory. The Star Factory is a artist development agency that he pretty much created to give Detroit back that musical powerhouse feeling that it used to have. He wants to bring new talent out. He wants to develop them, get them signed, get them put into big spotlights, big artistry. So Christina is a fashion stylist. She's a designer and she's also an influencer. She's in that industry. When it comes to fashion, that's her world. The two of them have some conflicts when it comes to the work life balance. Brandon is a go hard, be in the studio, do your thing, like it's the music industry. That's his thing. Christina is very much the fashion industry, but she's also the homebody. She's the one that's at home with the kids. She's at home making sure things get done while still trying to balance all of her career around Brandon's career as well. So there's some conflicts that come into that, and we try to dig into that a little bit. But they are also like two really cool people. I absolutely enjoy them to death. So I'm gonna let you find out why. Let's go. When you decide to put your marriage on television, you guys are at 11 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it'll be 12 next week.
Congrats. Were there reservations about saying let's go expose ourselves and our lives and our marriage and our careers to the world?
Initially, absolutely not. I did at one point have a conversation and, just kind of remind Brandon that, there's going to be a lot of extra, attention to us, a lot of extra voices. Are we really ready for this? Like, let's make our decision from that standpoint. Is this something
Yeah.
we really, really want to expose our marriage to? And, he felt like he can handle it. And so here we are.
I mean, we might have a totally different answer to this question after the show airs, but like this first filming, it was like ignorance is bliss. Like we were just really just being ourselves, and we just felt like we have a story that can help some people, and can help some married couples and some singles that are entertaining being married. Like see what the real is, what the real struggles are, what the real high moments are. So. It was no reservations on my end at all.
All right, so this is the Thompsons. The Thompsons are Anthony and Dr. LaToya Thompson. They've been married for 14 years, and they have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. We got that cleared up in the beginning of the interview. So Anthony is absolutely like the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. He is trying to find the ventures. He's trying to make sure he secures, quote unquote, the bag. He's making sure that he's providing for his family in the best way that he can. He's worked with Live Nation. He has his own company as well. He had a stint that he was working with some projects with a company here in Atlanta, which if you watch the first episode, you'll see why that became a problem. But he's also helping his wife run her wine company, Opulence Wine. So Dr. LaToya is a physical therapist. She loved wine, so wanted to get into it, wanted to find out what it was about. So now she's running a wine company as well. She appointed Anthony to be the person to run the business side of the wine company while she is working on the development and making partnerships and trying to get licensing and all that kind of stuff. It's a very challenging industry. There's a lot of fun with this couple. Anthony is the kind of dude that I would laugh with, hands down. LaToya is very much a silent assassin. Like you can tell, like she's no joke, no games. She's going to have fun, but she's going to speak her mind. She's going to get things done. So the Thompsons, I love them. Find out why. Let's go. 1, how did you guys meet? You've been married 14 years. How did this come about?
Well, I was on campus walking into Hubbard dorms, and she saw this fine brother walking down a hall. That was like, "Oh God, who is that?" Go ahead, she can tell her version.
We met at Michigan State University.
He knows the truth. That's why he laughed.
I'm saying, confidence is not a problem here. I got it. I got it.
Live your life. Boo. Yes, that's cool. We were cool for a while. We had some mutual friends and kind of just, we had a friendship that really developed into a love story. So we were friends first.
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually think I was marrying him. I really didn't initially, but he won my heart. So
yeah,
and we're still here.
See,
Nice.
if I'd have known she was gonna be my wife, we were friends. Like we were really best friends. She would not know all the stuff she knew about me.
You told too much.
I told way too much.
But you know what? It's a good thing because they say like having a friendship before a relationship is the best way to kind of go into it because you can actually enjoy each other. So there's not that mask that you have to protect yourself from in a relationship. When you take on this project, and you decide you're going to put your marriage, put your life, your career on television, was there hesitation? Because we've all seen Huntsville and D.C. and Housewives of all cities. Like, was there hesitation of saying, maybe we shouldn't do this?
Not on my side, because I worked in the industry for so long behind the scenes, and when I rescinded the offer in Atlanta, I was like, look, we doing this. Like, God opened another door because,
I was definitely hesitant. Just because I'm very reserved. I'm like, I mean, it was not something that I was like, I would never have thought that I would agree to something like this. But he did do some good convincing, obviously, because we're here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely was hesitant initially.
Okay, so let's get into the couples. First, we have the Harrises. The Harrises are Russell and Colby. Russell is a former athlete. He's now in divinity school, and he has a program called Sword Detroit. It's an athletic and literacy program that he runs in the city. Colby, on the other hand, is a social media influencer, just kind of getting started in that career, getting started in that area, but building a great following thus far. I want people to understand that social media influencing is not a easy job. There's a lot of time commitment. There's a lot of creating. There's a lot of posting. There's a lot of following and tagging and commenting on other people's stuff, bringing attention back to your stuff, making sure your partnerships are right, making sure your deals are right. It's a lot to it. So I never want anyone to take that as a easy job. I promise you it's not. It's one of the reasons I am not a fan of the social media posting and trying to make sure engagement numbers are high. Like, it's a lot. The two of them are a really cool couple. They've been married a little bit over 3 years, going into the 4th year now. They have a 2-year-old daughter, and they're really starting to find out what marriage really looks like and how they are going to coexist with each other moving forward. So, Colby and Russell, let's get into it. Nice. Did you play sports kind of growing up and into, like, as teenage, adult, college years, those kind of things?
Yeah, I did. So I started playing organized sports in high school, and then I went to college and I ran track. In college, I was a high hurdler, 3-time All-American in the 110 high hurdles.
And you started in high school?
Started in high school, yeah.
So you would call yourself a natural, basically.
God give me talent, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
One, kudos to you, because I don't understand. I know how people do it, but I don't know how y'all do it. It's a lot of work that nobody really understands. It's a lot of posting that personally I can't stand. If it were up to me, I would just kind of like throw social media in the back pocket and just go on with my day. So the amount of time and effort and always like having to be on your phone, has it gotten to a point where it interferes with the rest of your life? Or has it just become a part of your life so strongly now that you don't even realize how much you use it?
Yeah, I don't think that it interferes with the rest of my life. I think I know how to balance. I know everyone is not good with like putting their phone down when they're looking at social media, right? Because social media can be addictive. But I learned how to balance social media. Like I know, I need to spend time with my family. We've set parameters and rules. So for dinner, we always have dinner together. This is our time to check in, and this is our time to kind of talk about our needs or what we need for the week, what we are doing for the week, etc. And that's my time to put my phone down and just engage with my family.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm up later because I do have to take those moments to engage with my family, and I have to stay a little later to edit content or to post content, etc. So I do that. And I figure out how to balance it all and make sure that my husband's happy, make sure my daughter's happy, and make sure that our house is in good and clean order.
Yeah. Have you had the moments where you're like getting ready to eat and no one can eat until you take the picture?
I have had those moments before. I typically have done that for TikTok. Like I was trying to like plate the food just super cute, and just do a nice little dinner for Russell and Kendall, and Russell's like standing at the table like, okay, I'm starting. So
like there's food waiting.
yeah.
So, all right. When you decide to get married, what was the challenge that most couples find in that marriage process? What did you guys find was your challenge coming together, or have you even found that challenge yet?
Yeah.
Our challenge was really COVID. Like we were trying to
wow, yeah.
introduce our love to the world and have this big celebration. We wanted to have a huge wedding party. I think we had like 25 or 30 people in our wedding, and we had over a 500 people guest list. Like we were just so excited to share our love with everyone, and COVID hit, and I don't know, I feel like that's when we realized that, wow, like marriage is not going to always be peaches and cream. It's not going to always be sunshine and rainbows. Like this is just the beginning of us learning that this is going to be a rocky road.
Yeah.
It's been a rewarding road as well. And I think COVID only helped us find a different type of passion for one another. Like we were at home for COVID. It was just Russell and I. We were newly married. We couldn't really leave, right? Everything was happening. We couldn't travel. We couldn't do our own things. And so we had to like really tap in with one another and had to learn each other. And I think we're on a good trajectory in our relationship now because of what we went through during that COVID period. In a newly fresh marriage that the world could witness, right? So
yeah. I say anybody that kind of made it through COVID in a relationship, you a little stronger than most relationships are.
No doubt. I would just add, not only are you stronger, but kids who were birthed during COVID, they different. They definitely different. They're more resilient. They're everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everything had to be done. You pretty much, it was like you were on your own, but not really, but absolutely. It's a very weird trying to understand or explain that, but it's very much, it was us against the world, basically. When you get into the professional life, at what point in marriage did you realize that careers were probably going to end up taking over parts of the marriage, and how did you balance that out?
Well, we can say this. I work in operations for Live Nation, but when we got married, she was still in school. Mm-hmm. So we were actually living in Miami and Detroit. We were going back and forth. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. And doing our final rotation. So it's like we have actually been moving like this since the beginning of our marriage.
Gotcha.
Detroit's always been home.
Yeah.
And we, obviously this is all our family is here. But yeah, we've been kind of all over the place, and I am very, we're both career driven, but then entrepreneurship came in along with that. So bringing that balance between that, I think it's a everyday, never ending process of learning.
Yeah. How did entrepreneurship, affect your life? Because I know personally it is extremely demanding. Extremely demanding. So how did that affect your life? Especially you guys have 2 kids.
3.
Yeah, we have 3.
3 boys and a girl. They missed our daughter. Yeah, but actually, I've always worked a job and done entrepreneurship. Yeah. So that's been, from the beginning. I started off entrepreneurship and then turning to entertainment, going through school and professionally. So I think it was the balance really came because I was always on the go and going out making things happen. And then we had children. And then when she fell in love with the whole wine process, that's when we had to do new balances, because it's like, okay, now she needs to be gone sometime too. Then we need to be at the same time, because with me doing business operations, I handle the business side of her company as well as my own. So, it became very demanding once she started doing Opulence Wine.
Right. With your series, again, having 2 cities under your belt, and then your stint with the other network and becoming the king of reality television, do you ever feel like it becomes too much or it becomes too heavy trying to keep people in their authentic spaces and not overexert what they think the fans want?
That is hard. Listen, it's hard to remind your reality star that what made them rich and famous was their authentic qualities and being themselves. I would be a liar if I didn't say to you that unfortunately you do run into people who read the comments and they start to change who they are. And that's the unfortunate parts of it, one of the unfortunate parts. So one of the ways to not have that happen is to constantly remind them of what made them the star that they are, and hopefully that they listen to you. But it is challenging once a show becomes a huge success and people start to change. But that goes with a lot of celebrities, whether it's singers, actresses, it's not just reality stars, but it is difficult sometimes to navigate through that.
Were there times within your career that you wish the cameras weren't there so that you could have the other people around you be their authentic selves? Did that ever become a problem with your careers?
During filming?
Yeah.
So there's a funny story, but I can't tell it because it'll give it too much. But there was an instance where I was filming something in a creative space, and it was not, it did not hit. It was, I have to like come back and like, I gotta make a comeback from this. That's all I'm gonna say. And I was like, oh my God, like why does the cameras have to be there for this? But it's real, like it happens.
Yeah.
It was actually in the design space. And so it was a complete fail and it happens. I wish the cameras weren't there to capture it, but it's real and it happens to designers and creatives. So I mean, on the other end of it, out of transparency, I mean, I'm glad that other people and other designers and creatives can see that you're not the only one who have like bloopers and things just don't perfectly work out. So the benefit of it is hopefully it'll encourage somebody else.
Yeah. And on my end, same thing happened. I kind of invited like the more popular artists in the city to come do a scene with me instead of the people I was currently training. So when I'm trying to show them the stuff, they like are completely like not doing it right. And so I was just feeling like, what y'all are embarrassing me right now. And, yeah, so I probably should have just got my people that I was already training, but I was trying to show the top talents of Detroit, and that didn't go as planned.
Russell, with you being in divinity school and Kobe, you supporting him through going through divinity school, has there been a space where your career as a social media influencer kind of conflicts or battles alongside of his divinity school? I'm sorry, it's like thundering and lightning. I'm make sure the hell doesn't start. I start talking about divinity and it starts lightning and thundering. It's like, leave that alone.
No, it's funny. No, I think so. Yeah, being in divinity school, there's just some stuff that I just don't do. Not just being a man of faith, right? There's just stuff that I don't do. And I think there's been situations where I wouldn't say with us in particular, but in friendships where people understood the old me and not the new me, right? So having to bring them up to speed with the new guy, it has been in some cases challenging, in some cases rewarding. I think that has been very present and something that we've been dealing with.
You said, yeah.
Cool. No, it really, seriously, it's been something that we're dealing with. It's not even just like friends, right? Sometimes it's even family. Sometimes
that's interesting.
Family doesn't always understand why you changed or like what's different or why are you moving different. And I think one thing I can say about Russell and I is that we don't need our family's approval for what we feel that we're called to do and for who we feel that we're called to be, right? And it's either you're going to get on the bandwagon or you're not. And we love you still. We don't love you any less if you don't want to ride this train with us. And it's hard pill to swallow because let's just be authentic here. Like sometimes even your own family doesn't understand why you do certain things or why you changed or what's kind of motivating you. And you want your family's support, but you don't always get that. So you have to learn how to live.
Yeah. One thing that I get collectively across the board is that if you are on a Carlos King show, Carlos King wants to make sure that whatever business venture you are doing is shown in the forefront. Again, do you find that challenging to keep that there when the drama continuously pops its head back into every scene, every venture?
You know what? It's not hard for me. And I think a lot of that is because I make sure that they give me the real. I make sure that they understand the assignment and that they execute in a big way. I never want the drama to override their businesses because I know that at the end of the day, they want to get something out of this experience being on television. And when it comes to keeping an audience entertained, listen, it has to be entertaining and you got to cast people who are entertaining. Not everybody's meant to be on television. And there's some people who are just right for that challenge. But but like you said earlier, I am really big on, at the end of the day, make sure you have a business to promote, because I want all of my cast to be successful.
It's like we like to just enjoy our wine. But when you get into the business side of it, that's an industry that I didn't realize is so finicky, is probably the best word I'm going to use to stay politically correct. I didn't realize how it operates over there.
Oh yeah.
And
it's even harder when every state has different rules as well. So it's
right. At what point did you realize, like, okay, y'all really going to try me, and I really have to be on P's and Q's with everything and everyone in this industry?
I think just even going through the licensing process initially, that in itself took 2 years. And then trying to find a distributor was probably my aha moment. Like, I don't know if I want to do this, because he was like, no, you're not about to give up now. When
Too
all
much
these
money was invested.
Yeah.
But when, every distributor door that I knocked on said no, it's just like, man, why? And then I let him call, or I let him sign his name to an email. He got an answer. So I was just like, man, really think about it. Really, is there a reason behind this, or what's the process with this? But
just when a boss put his name out there, they got to call him back.
It works like that sometimes. Because you have shows you have to go to. Most shows, we all know, start at like 11, 12 o'clock at night and run into late mornings. Meanwhile, Christina wants you to kind of push back away from a lot of that. Have you found a balance because of the show and because of like the conversations having to happen on camera? Have you found a balance in that at this point where it's like, let me kind of do this and I'll try to make sure it's not this many times a month, that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, like basically there has been no balance. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't going, you know what I'm saying? And that was the whole issue.
Okay.
As I wasn't really going out like I wanted, like I needed to. So since then I've tried to do a lot more, but still a little resistance there. And I'm doing a showcase right now. I'm planning a showcase, and what should have took me one text message has taken me about 8 calls, email, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't take all that.
Yeah.
So this summer I'm gonna be out here.
Yeah.
And that's fine. One thing I want to say is, let me say something. It's more of a faith thing, like for me, and like his presence at home is important to me, especially late at night, because I don't like being home by myself. Like I want a man in the house when it's late at night. Like we live in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It's not so much like it's not only I don't want you there, I just want you home so that I can feel safe. And so, I don't know if we'll ever find balance there. I'm never gonna be like, go.
Have you heard that perspective before? Like it's not about the shows, it's just her wanting to feel safe?
He knows that.
Yeah. But I mean, she prays every day. You know what I'm saying? You go be all right. God got you. When I'm not home, your real dad is here.
But he also knows that I don't fall asleep until he comes in the house.
Okay, well stay up.
So sometimes it's 2 a.m. and I'm like,
watch Love and Marriage D.C. She just be up, staring at the ceiling.
Are you safe? Am I safe? Is somebody, yeah.
So maybe you have you thought about combining your ventures into a showcase or platform, almost like a Rip the Runway kind of thing, where it's like the fashion and the music and bringing all that together so that you can support each other in your ventures?
We've actually done like work together. Like I've styled a lot of his clients, and I've been on set. We've done those world things where you show up and you get styled and you get a photo shoot. Like we've We've collaborated on a lot of things. We haven't made anything permanent though, no.
No, but I like that idea though.
Right. Like,
You know, that's a giveaway.
Right.
I'll show you my invoice. We're good.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. Are there points in when you're doing the Love and Marriage series? Are there points in here where you look at a couple when they came in and where they end up and ask, is any of this because I put you on television? Like, would your life have been different had you just stayed away from the cameras? Do you ever have that situation or that kind of that feeling?
You know, look, I look at the success of my stars, and it's no secret that the show helped them become this household name, right?
Right.
Would they have
right.
been successful without me? For sure. You know, they would have been. But when it comes to becoming a household name on television, then yes, it's courtesy of the show. And there's nothing like being a proud parent when you sit back and you see one of your stars become a huge success, and you sort of marvel at what they've become and really happy with their life right now. And I do have those moments with my cast where I'm really happy and proud of them, and I hope that they continue just to be great people and great pillars of their community.
When cameras wrapped, was there anything you kind of looked back at and said, I didn't know that was going to happen, and I kind of wish it didn't happen on the camera?
It was all real. So these is real emotions. This is like, I understood it going in from being on the other side, being behind the scenes, because working in music and film, TV, like I've seen it from the other side, but it's totally different still when you're in front of that camera and things is rolling. You know, I have a newfound respect for the people in front of the camera. It was nothing like, again, I always believe in great content and putting it all out on the field. So, I don't regret, or I don't have an issue with anything that they display. Only thing is in the I'm used to being behind the scenes, seeing the cuts and not knowing the way that they cut some of the stuff. That's the only thing I'm like, dang, like I want to be a part of that process.
You got to protect yourself.
I don't think I regretted anything. I think things were like, oh, I think I saw better at the end. I got a better glimpse of how things in general run, and generally runs with, an unscripted show, but then, seeing individuals and how they interact, I think it gave me a better idea of what was put on the TV. Oh, well, we'll see, I guess, but how things played out between us.
Perfect.
I'm excited. Let's have fun.
Yeah, and from what we see from the reunions, when you get involved with the cast, is that you're not just their executive producer or the owner of the show. It's like you are their friend. They're somebody that will call you and like have these personal conversations with you. Do you find yourself in situations when it's like, why did you call me? Like, don't put me in the middle of this. Get me away from it. I want nothing to do with it. Stop. Call somebody else. Get somebody else to do it.
Yes, and I let them know this ain't. I feel like is a bat line. Like, you don't call the bat line for something like this. You better call somebody else, child. So yes, you got to remind them that I'm not getting involved, because what you don't want is for anyone to think you're a part of it. And you always have to understand, and that's any boss in corporate America or not. You can't get involved in your employee situation. You just can't be in the middle of it. That's why you have an HR department. That's why you have supervisors. That's why you have people in place for those things. So yeah, sometimes the lines get blurred, but I'm very happy to remind them, I'm not getting involved.
Call your producer.
Yes, or call your mama. Leave me alone, child. Or most importantly, call your therapist, but make sure we can film it.
Make sure put it on wax.
Yes.
So when you're at a point now where your name, Kingdom Reign, Carlos King, everything that you're doing is rising very fast. What do you want ultimately like to accomplish? Like, what is the Carlos King goal?
Really good question. Look, I want to be able to continue being one of, if not the face of reality television. When the fans coined me the king of reality TV, I owned it and took pleasure in representing that. But you know, I have a successful podcast, Reality with the King. People are like, Carlos, we want you to have a talk show. We need you on our daytime television. We miss Wendy. We need you to talk about the mess going on in the world. So those are things that I really desire, and I'm putting it out there in the universe. I would love to have a daytime talk show. I would love for my company to continue creating franchises. I would love for my podcast to continue to be a success. And I want to be, I'm the king of reality, but I want to be the king of all media.
Yeah, I love that. So one, thank you for the interview.
Yeah,
personally, I'm not a huge reality TV fan, but I'm hooked on all of your shows, which is a testament to itself. So just one, thank you for giving them voices and authentic voices to be able to put out to public, because it doesn't feel like any of that is controlled, and that's where the difference comes in from other shows. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
For that. It means a lot to me. Thank you.